welcome to August 2021. This is a manifestation and change month. This is the month we have all been waiting for this year. If you're anything like me, you have been completely affected by the 2021 energy, which is change. Everything has been rocking us to the core, getting us to sift out anything that no longer belongs. And here we come out of another heavy, dense retrograde cycle, meaning what has come to pass in June and July, and still a little bit with us here in August. But everything has been this reflective moment, having us go inward, decide who we are, what we truly want, and how we're going to move forward yet again. And so here we come out of this and into August, which is now the ability to manifest the change. So this is the first time truly all year that we're gonna get to start to see the microcosm or the small beginnings of what's coming in 2022, because 2022 next year, I promise you, is going to be the most magical unfolding of all of this work we've been doing. Everything we've had to go through, everything we've been, rocked to the core with, it's all coming to fruition come 2022. And those of you that have been doing the work, going internal, reviewing and letting go, and constantly ready for the new, the next, the change, the shift, all of you who have been on this wild ride this year and just holding on tight, knowing that the light at the end of the tunnel is coming, this is it. This is going to be this first beautiful glimpse. And this is really in August. We hear about Lionsgate, which is on 8/8. We hear about this moon energy that is going to be the Aquarian energy 2 times in a row, which is all about, the fuel for us, our starlight shining, our spotlight, on who we are, what we've been bringing forth since, the whole last year and this year, everything that's been breaking that hard exterior shell to reveal this golden temple within. So the starlight, the moon, the astrology, everything's in alignment, the numerology, it's all coming to a head here this August, yet we're still in the 2021 cycle, which means there's still some shifting happening, so we're not completely in the clear. But come this, August, we're going to get to see truly and start to feel some of what we're presenting outwardly, and then we're going to jump right in to the kind of completion energy, that Q4 energy of the rest of the year, which is going to give us all these amazing kinds of completions, gateways, and then an attempt to heal everything we've gone through to then birth the next new iteration of self come 2022. I know that sounds like a long way away, but it'll be here in a blink of an eye. So get ready, stick with me. We're gonna go over the red and the blue path and a little bit of extra stuff, some precognition for the world, because it's coming through me, and I'm no longer gonna hold this stuff just to me and my circle of people. So I'm gonna explain to you what I'm picking up on as some of the big world changes that are coming with this 5 to 7 year cycle we're on. So stay tuned and let's get ready to pick your path for this month of August. My name is Jenessee and I'm going to be your chakra guide to help pick your path, either red or blue, for this month of August, this amazing manifestation month. So how this works is we look at your field. So I am of the highest truth and belief that we are always living within the quantum space, which means the more still, the more clear we can become on our energy, on what's happening right here, right now, in this thinking, feeling, and action physical reality that we're in, that the more clear we can become on what's happening and what's shifting energetically, the more clearly we can then magnetize and align to us our highest path, or the most destined path, if you like that word better, for our energy to take moving forward. So I also believe that there's never a wrong path that you can choose, but to be really conscious about what you're experiencing, getting very clear on that energy so that you can make the best choices moving forward. That's what we do each month, and we do that through the chakra system. So we use the 78 oracle deck, the chakra deck, to explain this. This 78 card deck really denotes what energy can be happening in the physical, emotional, and mental plane, and it notes all of these 77 points, the 78th point being that high self access point to the multidimensional cosmos that you're connected to beyond that. And so what we do is we look at the collective energy. So being a human collective of unity consciousness means that we're all entangled in this beautiful web together. So that means through our bigger cycles that we go through, we're all living in an agreed upon 2021 year. We're all living in that year of August right now. And so that all has very heavy impact on what kind of energies are coming to a head at this exact moment in time. So as we enter this new cycle and we get very clear on who we are, what we want, and what we've been deciding, feeling, and thinking over the last month and how we've arrived to this point, we can then get very clear on what energy we might be carrying forward or stepping into because of what the collective is experiencing. So that's how we do this. That's how I read this information for you each month. And then at the end of this, whatever path you're walking, either red or blue, you can do more self-actualizing work or some self-reflective work by joining us at the chakra membership community, and you can get access to the full monthly journey to keep yourself aligned to that ever-changing energy that's happening this month per the path you're walking, or you can purchase that one time and explore that journey for yourself and experience what it means to be living very consciously within your own intuitive chakra system. So what we're going to do now is go over the energy that each of these paths would have been experiencing last month. And why we do that is because the thoughts, the feelings, and then the actions you took last month have now created the energetic field that you carry around you, your resonant field that you're now carrying around you to have more experiences moving into this month. So what we do is we look at who you were coming up into this point as you watch this video, exactly what energy you would have labeled on your life experience last month, and then that helps us decide what path you're mostly going to align to see what your mastery for August is going to be, what the new beginning for August is going to be, and then what the test or the duality for you will be in August. And so again, we do this to just get ourselves very conscious, very clear, and we get very specific on parts of these points within our field. Again, I look at the field as being this tapestry of 77 connection points that create a multi-dimensional network of experiences that you can have, and that's what we're going to read right now. So we're going to start with red path, and if you haven't been with me before, I track right in front of me, but I track kind of far out and up and down because I've got 8 cards laid out to represent what these energies are going to be. So excuse me when I look past you through the lens to something behind you. So we're going to start with red path. And so if you're going to be picking red path this month, you're going to be picking it because last month was a bit of how do we say, really, you were very self-conscious. It's a hypo solar plexus chakra, and solar plexus chakra is all about you. It's all about the identity. It's about you, the human, your identity, your role. This could even fall in line with like your resume, how you view yourself. Am I worthy? How confident you are in yourself, your authority in this world, how you present yourself, and how you're feeling about yourself. And so people who will be walking the red path this month will have been coming from a July. Again, remember, June and July, heavy retrograde season, heavy self-reflection, heavy going back into old patterns, questioning yourself, questioning what's been happening to you. You know, if I know it's been a heavy kind of relationship, and it could be relationship with love, romantic partners. It could be with relationship relationship with you and your career, or even you and your own connection to yourself. But it's all about these retrogrades have been about going inside and reviewing, you know, who am I and what do I really want moving forward. And so when that whole inward kind of focus happened, the red path for this month would have started doubting themselves. You would have found yourself in what my business partner and I call the spiral or the portal, portaling, when you're just lost and you're falling down Alice's rabbit hole, right? The endless stream of, oh my gosh, how long is this gonna go? How far is this drop? And how long do I have to spiral? It's like the constant questioning and self-doubt and, you know, what did I do wrong? And it's the questions to yourself that make you think that there was something that you could have controlled or had happened differently if you would have only done it this way, right? And so to reflect back on July and say, you know, did I do something wrong? Was this my fault? Was I not good enough, smart enough, strong enough, powerful enough, rich enough, you know, pretty enough, whatever, all of these very I qualities. So the person who's picking red path had one of these months where maybe some things happened that did feel a bit out of your control, and you had a lot of self-doubt or questioning. The specific energy here is low self-esteem. So coming in, reviewing what you're coming from, and reviewing that, you know, I didn't feel confident enough, or, you know, my self-esteem wasn't there. I allowed myself to take the blame, or I blamed myself for it, right? Somebody who wasn't really, truly 100%, again, confident is the word here, confident in who you were and what you were experiencing. And so allowing yourself to blame yourself for whatever that was that happened, or whatever the situations were, or maybe it wasn't a specific situation, but it was just an energy of doubt and disconnect from yourself. And so that would be the person who's going to be picking red path. And so again, because of what you were feeling, how you were acting, the choices you were making last month will now dictate what kind of experiences you're going to have this month. And I promise you, if you pick red path, you're going to be blessed. It's a really beautiful path, and you're going to find your power. So I usually don't give a tease because I want you to be very just in what was of last month, and I don't want to, you know, sway anybody into a path. But red path, if that's what you were going through, I understand when it's that self-doubt energy and how hard that spiral can be to get out of. And so this manifestation month is really an illumination month for you. And it's like you get to come back into yourself. So don't fear if you feel like you were red path. It's gonna be good. It's gonna transition for you. So then blue path, if you're picking blue path with us this month, blue path was where red path was kind of like the isolated self-doubt. Blue path was all about the clear intention. It was truly about being the exalted self. It's almost like where red path was like, I want to hide, I want to shut the door and lock everybody out. I'm in, you know, I want to be in the dark cave. I want to hermit. I want to be away from everything. Blue path was like the spiritual kind of version of this, where you were so in yourself, you were so embodied, but it was it's almost like you went past the confidence of the human, the confidence and authority of I'm living my destiny, I'm here showing up and grounded and present every day. And it's like you even went past that and you went into this exalted state where it was like you were able to almost have these moments where you felt like you were watching yourself act in life, where what we would say is it's almost like a projection where you're getting to almost witness and observe yourself in a way that you're perceiving, how you're acting, you're witnessing the different things and actions and words you're saying. It's almost as if you take on the energy of being the high self, the exalted one that's witnessing the human moving through the human responsibilities and tasks and priorities and schedules and all the things you had to do. And I know that might be hard to understand, but you're still living. Of course, you're conscious within your human body, but there's moments where you kind of get to observe yourself playing the role, or observe yourself in the situation that you knew was going to happen. It's this almost a detached way of being able to be living in the moment of everything that's happening, but also having a higher awareness that's like maybe that beautiful voice in your head, or that knowing, or that ability to observe your actions in the moment that validate exactly what you're doing. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. I know it's a bit of a interesting concept to try and describe, but it's this being conscious from multiple planes of existence. So you're not only living the experience, but you're also able to perceive that experience as it's unfolding, and through that higher perception of witnessing yourself almost in a connected but detached way. And I know I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth here, but through that, it gives you this glorious validation and awareness and ability to observe yourself going through the cycles and the movements and the patterns. And so, it did not maybe all have to be good. I know I'm making it sound like it's a very positive thing. This could have been witnessing yourself in interactions that would have maybe triggered you or pushed you into spirals or self-doubt, but instead of getting into that, you were able to observe how you were in this same pattern, and maybe able to observe it from a new perspective that allowed you not to get stuck within it, that allowed you to maybe gain more awareness or information to make different decisions, so you're not in that same spiral. So that's this quality. And this is also for those of you who like angelics. This would be one of our 7 angelic energies. They don't come up that often. And so it's nice to know when an angelic energy comes in. And this is Archangel Raphael. So Archangel Raphael is all about helping the human not be so human and not get so in this physical reality. And so Archangel Raphael comes in to bring awareness of the greater perspective of all situations. So, when you get cut off by the car, stupid example, but when you get, cut off by the car, and you would typically get mad at that person and say something like, dang it, use your blinker. Like, we're all human here, share the road, use your blinker. And you might get into that silly human construct. Archangel Raphael will say, with this greater perspective and this ability to observe or gain the clear intuition about what's happening, would be the archangel that instead of in that moment where you get triggered kind of by that subtle road rage or that anger towards the person who cut you off, Archangel Raphael's energy would be this exalted energy of witnessing that, and then saying something like, oh wow, that person must have a very important thing they have to get to, and being aware of all of these things happening at the same time. So instead of trying to keep pace or let them know you're there, you maybe ease off the gas, you smile internally and say, I've been there too, buddy, like, here, have what you need, and sending love instead of anger or hate, and almost being in a more empathic, connected state to everything that's transitioning and happening. And so instead of just being forced into the reactionary position that the human's in, you get this moment of being able to observe from maybe their perspective and your past perspective, and then and then being able to perceive from the greatest good of the other lanes that are surrounding you, so you're not causing havoc if you have to move out of the way very quickly. So it's almost like firing on all cylinders, where it's not just about you that's being reactionary and affected in the moment. It's about all aspects coming together to create one instance within everybody's collective experience. And so that's Archangel Raphael in the grand scheme of things. Archangel Raphael comes in as this transitionary energy to help us get out of our own reality and to observe from the great stage that is this life that is playing out around us. And so Archangel Raphael being very present as an energy, a supportive energy that was overlaid within what was happening last month again. So when an archangel comes in, it's very supportive. It's about being in alignment to information that you need when you need it. So again, not saying that all last month for Blue Path would have had to be positive, but to understand that that there were reasons why you were having not only human things happen to you, but then getting a greater perspective or more information than maybe you've had before. So that would be red and blue path for this month. So what we're going to do now is put up the videos so that you can choose what is happening. Woo! So that you can choose your journey. And then in these videos, we're going to explain to you again what the mastery for each path is going to be. And that's going to be the total overlay of what your energetic field is trying to learn and integrate and understand on a very physical level. And then what the new beginning, which happens right around the beginning of the month, and what the test or the initiation towards the end of the month is going to be. So one last thing, and this is going to be weird and totally out of place here, but I have to speak it because collective energy right now is all about speaking truths in the moment of when they happen, and I tend to hold these things back, and I assume not many people will stay to this very last moment, so I'm willing to say it here. So, oh God, how do we even start this? So I woke up a few weeks ago, and I don't typically look into the earth. It's not something that I do. I'm not an intuitive that likes to tap into future potential or future timeline because it's always changing. Depending on what the collective is going through, our future potentials are constantly realigning. But when there is energy that is connected to me, connected to what I teach, what I talk about, even if I'm not looking for it, it will find me. And so this has happened more and more frequently now, and so that's why I'm here going to explain it to you, because I think it's a part of my process and why I'm here and why I wrote a book not too long ago for all of the star seeds and cosmic souls that are here at this time during this grid change within our human collective that are activating to what this new grid system is. And so there's been many things that I've been talking about. Way back in 2015, I had a prediction. I was told about the COVID virus, although it was very Nostradamus style. It was so metaphorical. But if you listen to it, it's within the app. It's what set me off on my journey to start being a grid worker here on Earth, which means I went out and helped the new grid system. I went out and used crystals and gridded the North America, Canada, and South America. I gridded all these areas, and lots of people were called to do this. Lots of sensitives were called to do this to help bring in and usher this, what we're calling this, ascension prophecy, right? And so the predictions I felt with COVID led then to me having this whole crazy experience where over the course of a week, I continued to leave my body and have these experiences off planet. I wrote a whole book on it. It took a whole year for me to integrate that experience and then actually write the book for public consumption. And something I never told anybody when I did that was when I wrote the book, there's a whole kind of synopsis on the resonant frequency of the earth. And I was told that the everything that I was writing was for 2030. And it blew my mind, and it felt so wrong that I was writing this stuff that was so off planet, that was so cosmic, for a 2030 timeline, that I actually changed it to 2300, because I said there's no way that this information and whatever it means is supposed to be here for a timeline that's happening for Earth to happen by 2030. And so I totally lied and said 2300 in the book. And so now everything, hindsight, has now led up to, oh my God, we are on a timeline of 2030. And so I don't question anymore, and now I'm just speaking, probably blabbering here, but I woke up a few weeks ago, and just like when I tapped into the earth and felt the COVID virus, and the earth was talking about how sick it was and showing everybody in gas masks and all our borders closed, it's the same vibration that just communicated with me again, right, just right around 4th of July. And it gave me a year of 2025, and it talked about cataclysms hitting the Pacific Northwest. And it felt very much so as if it would be a cataclysm of the size of a massive fault line, literally ripping through and destroying and bringing buildings to rubble. All over the Pacific Northwest. We tapped into this last year. The astrologer Diane and I did a recording right before all the grid systems started failing in the Pacific Northwest in Texas. And Diane and I were picking up on this information before all that stuff came to light, because the earth was talking again and saying it's so out of balance. And the Pacific Northwest is completely out of balance, that it's hurting, and the world is literally trying to shift itself back into a frequency of sustainability. And so because it's so dense there right now, it seems as if this timeline is coming to fruition. There has been this in the book I wrote. There are more prophecies that were in connection to all of this, but why I'm communicating this is not for any fear-based approach. Those who are hearing the call are hearing the call. Those who are not are going to be whatever it is. Again, I say don't ever talk about prophecy, because there's absolutely, the humans can change what our potential timeline is. But back at the end of last year, there was something very specific around an astronomical event, the Bethlehem star that came up. This was extremely important. I didn't know why, and I still 100% don't know why. I'm not an astrologer. I have my astrologer looking into all the connections here, so when she figures it out, we'll have her come on and talk about it. But the Bethlehem star that came at the end of last year, December of last year, 2020, they use this within the prophecy that they told me about for a timeline of 2025 in the Pacific Northwest, and that whole cataclysm hitting there. I have other sensitive friends that once I received this have also gotten this information. And again, I am not one to promote fear. I'm not one to promote anything. But when it comes through so many of us who have a voice and who share this information, and for myself, I wrote a book. The reason why I'm sharing this is not to scare anyone, to not make anyone think they need to move. Although they do show that the world is going to be breaking apart there, at least in what I see. But again, there's the potential to not have that happen at that scale. And what that would mean is that those who are here, who are connected to this level of sensitivity, that have yet to fully kind of click in, there is more waiting for you. And so this book I wrote that I called 12 Planets, 11 Bodies, 1 Soul, The Journey to Discover the Master Archetype, I was told while I was writing it, per my experience, that it was not only being written for the 2030 timeline, but it was being written vibrationally encoded, because it tracks these different planets, and all of our star seeds, our cosmic friends that are here in human bodies, that there's cosmic openings that still need to happen within their DNA, their crystalline DNA, and that what I was writing was going to be an activation for those star seeds, that you'd read 3 of the planets' experiences that I documented in this book, and they'd mean nothing to you, and then you'd get to one planet and you'd almost be like you were living in it. It would feel familiar, it would feel resonant to you. It would feel like your history, your energy. It would just feel right. And then the other planetary experiences you'd think were goofy or would think were nothing or boring. But there would be one in there that was the activation for you in your cosmic or crystalline DNA. And so, you know, again, and I don't know if there's any great revelation within the book, but I know it's all encoded light information that will activate those who are ready to be activated to their cosmic timelines. And that's part of what we're all here for, is to fully come into our cosmic timeline. Those who are sensitive, it is the time. This is the time. This is what we've all been waiting for. You know, at the end of last year with the Bethlehem star, I talked about we're on there's 7 waves that are going to be happening. And so the 7 waves are these things that are going to be very, and I just use the word cataclysmic. I don't think they all need to be cataclysmic, but there are going to be 7 massive things that kick us into this alignment that, you know, back in December of 2020, I was saying would be around 2025 to 2027. And so, you know, again, just waking up the other day and the earth communicating to me in that way that there, again, a 2025 timeline for potential cataclysms in the Pacific Northwest. It's just something that at this point, I know too much about what my process has been to not communicate it in the way that it needs to be communicated. So there's that. You know, I'm sorry for not giving more information, but as Diane Trimbath, our friend and astrologer, looks more into the Bethlehem star, what it all means, all the kind of connection points that were happening in December, back when that happened, you know, the Pacific Northwest and all of this will come in if we have any new insight. But just for now, it's all about truly listening to the self, that we can change this by raising our vibration. And to me, all one has to do is see the perfection of reality and not live within the duality. But that's a very hard thing to do when you're still operating at belief systems that are lower than perfection. And so if we could all just see the perfection of everything and trust in one another, the love and the perfection of all of it, then that would raise the vibration of the collective, which would then raise the vibration of the earth that we belong to, because we're all the same. And so those that fight and stay in this duality, and you can see that very, very strongly with the Pacific Northwest territories. They are struggling within the duality of all of it. Not that other people aren't, but it's very heavy duality there. And you can see with their fires, and then their massive storm surges, and now their grid systems going out. You can see it's like the pulsating of this area that is showing that it's getting bigger and bigger and riper, and it's going to pop if we don't have more people step into the perfection of their timeline there. We've got a lot of people holding it down there. I work with so many people there, so blessed that we have so many amazing people constantly just being that barometer for love in that area. And so yeah, that's it. So now we're gonna get into picking your video. So at this point, pick the red or blue. Again, red for self-conscious, self-doubt, blue for the exalted state last month, and really kind of having moments of awareness and recognizing things that really enlightened and illuminated your path.